We're recording on OBS, so this is the official start to the Sage's Office Hours weekly workshop review, where we're going to look at your whips, we're going to listen to the source tracks, and we're going to do what we can. I know 480 is a crime. 720 is really what we should do in the Discord call. I'll bump up if people are having issues with the stream of not being able to get it. Say something and I'll bounce back down. We are an all-inclusive gang over here. So if your internet can't hold up, we'll slow down for you. And if that upsets you, sorry, man, we're inclusive here. That's just what we do. So the first track, for those of you that are new, welcome in. If you've never been to a whip review before, what we do typically is we source work in progress mixes from what's going on in the community, either in the Discord or on the forums, and we ask to grab the sources of whatever track they are remixing or reorchestrating or rearranging, however you want to think of it. We listen to the source so that we can get an idea of the original track, and then we listen to the remix so that we have an understanding of what's happening in the original, like what's the A section, the B section, how the movements, we try to get all of the ideas of what's happening in the original to compare the remix against, so that we can, find out, do they have enough of the source tune in there? Is it recognizable? And is the mix coming together in a way that's satisfying to listen to? And if not, what can we do to facilitate making that happen? Right? So what we're going to start with is one that Seven Eyes, or Alex, has been doing. You've been working on this now for a couple weeks at least, probably like 3. This is Dmitry Maximov's theme from Darkstalkers, and the last week we checked it out, you said you're about 80% of the way done. This is what you're calling like at the last rendition before you add tracked guitars to it. So we're gonna play the track here real quick and get an idea of what it sounds like. Steve is asking for a second while he adjusts his Discord settings. I'm going to hit start. Hopefully it comes on. If not, thankfully there will be a VOD available on YouTube, and I will be sure to post it before the start of next week's workshop review. Anyway, Dmitry Maximov from Darkstalkers, here we go. There we go. And that is the loop point. In the interest of time, I won't continue past the loop point. Let me drop it in chat if for those of you who want to check it out later. There you go. There's a link to it. That OG is crazy. So let's hear what Alex has cooked up here for the last 20% of the way. This is Fiamma de Vampiri the Dmitry Maximov theme remix final with fake guitar. I imagine hearing the theme before because he's beat his friends up to it. Anyway, let's check this out. No audio. You know why? Because I forgot to do one very critical thing. All right. And now I want to make sure that OBS is getting it. Yeah, if I don't hit Windows audio, you don't get it. I presume if I do this. right? Like just a couple seconds before 5 minutes. I like the fade out. I'm sure that the the judges are probably gonna give you shit about having a fade out, but I think the fade out is a nice ending. Like it's set up to have it like a really nice like vibe to do it. Uh, I have heard way worse fake guitar like synths, which my understanding is that you built that patch to make it. Yeah, it's just a synth, and it's one of those synths that it's like that sounds like a fake guitar, but it's definitely just a synth. Um, I can uh, without even like without knowing exactly how you built the synth and that you're like, yeah, I kind of want a guitar to do this. Um, I have a patch that's already ready for doing exactly like that. If you aren't, if you haven't heard the Game Set Mash 1 track that Josh Eminator and I did called Parallax Effect, let me grab that real quick because that's essentially the guitar tone that I find works really really well for synthwave passages. Let me grab effect OC remix. Copy link without site tracking, and then I have to delete the site tracking anyway because of course I do. There you go. If you give that a check out, that will give you the idea of what kind of lead tone will is probably like right in the zone of what you're looking for as far as guitar. You do have some peaks. I don't trust Span a lot too much on the peaks. I would need to pull in like Julian to get a better read about what true peak, what like how much is peaking, because this is saying 0.2, but it might be 0. On your final mix to like on the final master to go to the panel, you definitely want that at no higher than 0 or -0 on the peaking. I'm gonna see if Zach will master it. Yeah, I'm sure he will, as long as he's not buried in work, because he often is. All good. Welcome in with the new profile picture. Everyone should have the ability to express themselves how they like. I kind of agree. Like, I didn't think the sidechain was super aggressive on the last one. This feels super tame. Uh, it's
Yeah,
not too tame. Go
I
ahead.
I kind of felt like it was on the edge of too tame. Like, I mean, it's not quite off yet, but like personally, I kind of like the extra thump because it gives this, especially like with synthwave or dark synth or the cyberpunk kind of feel. There's almost like a pulse that you're kind of going for, and almost feels kind of like machine like that you're kind of playing with. And if you take off too much of sidechain, then you kind of risk it sounding kind of just like a normal orchestra with synths, which isn't a problem. And if you're used to doing like, slow rock or classical music or cinematic music, you don't really want to hear the sidechain because that's kind of bad form. But in this kind of music, it's not really bad.
Yeah, it's kind of expected to have it.
Now, like if you're overdoing it, where like you're hearing a lot of like gap between like the kick and the bass, um, that's probably gonna be a problem, right? Like so, like you just want to play with it by your ear.
Well, hopefully I can wrap up uh my obligations within the month. If not, like early November, I can get you a guitar track, and then we'll see where it's at right there. Um, yeah, I mean, like you're way past the point of like pleasing everybody, and this is pleasing everyone who's like about like if you're into Carpenter Brute, if you're into Master Boot Record, I like this has something for you and for them. And for the people who don't know those groups, I think that this is a good this would be a good primer to be like, hey, if you like this is the direction it's going in. Root Gang Assemble, hell yeah.
If you get crap from them for the ending, what I would say is do this is basically break down the rest of the song except for that lead synth that you have playing. Um, it's kind of like that. I think it's like a square bell kind of a synth. That could be wrong. Um, that like so you basically have everything kind of break out, and then that fades a little bit more slowly than everything else. Or if you just kind of break it down, that would be fine too. But um, just having that play by itself and kind of having it slow down would be a great way to end it as well. So like if they don't like it, um, you have you heard the song that doesn't end by Lamb Chop? So the idea is that if it's a song that basically repeats and repeats and repeats, the way you end those songs is basically by fading it out because the assumption is it goes on forever. And it's overdone, especially by a lot of musicians who don't know how to end a song. So it's looked at as like a way of doing something very cheesy to basically end it. Um, Now, if it fits the genre and it fits the style, and it's not as bad of a thing. But I totally understand where they're coming from because I don't like fade outs. I mean, I don't hate them. They're just usually not something um I'm gonna go to, right? Like there's definitely a time and place for them. I think here it's okay. I think it seems pretty I don't know. It seems tactful to me, but
Yeah. I like I think that there's an argument to be made, especially when you're doing EDM, that oh, let me take the ARP that I have going on and let me use the ARP to do the fade, where it kind of I don't want to call it a swell down, but where it like, it winds itself down and uses the ARP slowly dropping in volume to kind of, play it out. I don't think there's anything wrong with that stylistically. Um, and if like, yeah, there's a ton of mixes from like between the 50s to the like 70s and even the 80s where the fade out is there, but normally it's on like the chorus that's repeated for the fourth or fifth time, and the assumption is that the chorus just keeps going round and round until people are running out of breath or dying. Like that's the thing that we're trying to avoid is the non-stylistic, the non-creative fade out. Like if you do have a fade out, it has to be tasteful and purposeful, which is that because that's a subjective thing. That's not a thing that like I can make the decision about. That's something for the judges. But if they give you shit, there's ways around it. We'll figure it out. It's all good if you got a deep. If you got a dip, we'll see. Like I said, the VOD will be available on the Overclocked Extras channel on YouTube. Which let me go ahead and drop the
like, subscribe, and share with your friends.
yeah all that fun jointness. Um, uh, you'd think that I would be able to just type overclock extras after the YouTube thing, but I think our URL does not um work that way because we are not cool enough on YouTube yet. Copy link. Okay. Yeah, I just have to have the @ That's fine. The link is there. If drop that as subscription. We usually do the workshop reviews as unlisted links on the YouTube, so there won't be like a post that goes out about it. If you are checking the Discord, we often drop the link to the last week's one in either the workshop or the general discussion for people to check out. If not, you can always peruse in there and go into the playlists, and you can always find the most recent one. So this week will be there by next week to check out all the regular stuff. If not, there's still the forums. There's still all the stuff here in the workshop. Uh, I should say in the Discord in the workshop channel. I think our next workshop event. One of the things we also do is the Sages here is we do workshop events. I think the next one we have going is Matt's home workshop, which I think is still being worked on.
Yeah, I mean, I had some stuff that come up in my life that is taking precedence right now, but
Yup.
I did have something I wanted to start after Halloween. So hopefully, if everything gets resolved by then, and it might be, like I actually got some. I'm talking with 3 people right now, so like there's a chance that it's not going to be a big deal, but um, yeah. So like it just depends on timing and things like that. But yeah, the plan was to do it after Halloween and start it up like during Thanksgiving and over the holiday.
Sick. I can't wait. I'm looking very forward to that. The best way to get notified for that is probably to be on either the forums or here in the Discord. We'll have more information for that as we go. Let's see. Who has got mixes in here? We've got Ronald's Poe's got a remix. Mel Decision's got a remix. Mo's got a remix. We'll catch you later, Will Steve. Thanks for hanging out. Who's first? Blixer will go last just because she's not here currently. Let's see. Who's got the longest one? Oh, Mo has the longest one by a couple of seconds. So maybe we do Ronald's first because it is the shortest. That'll be how we do it. Oh, don't shrink. I want you to drag it up there. All right. So we've got the Resident Evil 1 save room theme. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Pop that over here. I'll drop that in the chat. I am going to play it, but in case anyone wants to dig on that, I love this one. So this is the save room theme from Resident Evil 1. It's full of delicious piano. And happy Halloween. And there's the loop point. It's like a really quick, like 8 bars. It is so nice to hear when you're running from zombies that you finally hit a room where no one's gonna get to you. Was that not major, minor, or my ears lying to me? I believe it starts on a minor chord and goes to a major. I haven't looked at the sheet music for it, so I don't know 100%, but my instinct is to say that it's a minor chord into a major chord. I don't actually, it might even be a minor into like a sus 4 or something like that. But that's all right. All right. So we've got Ronald Poe's save room, viola, and harp. And let's find out what's going on here. Let's get you up here, Ron. Welcome up, bud. We heard you for a second. Is your mic working?
Hello?
Yeah, there you are. How's it going, Ron?
Okay, I didn't realize I pushed the button. I got accepted. I'm doing okay.
So we do have some feedback for you. What particularly are you looking for here?
It's just a concept mainly.
Got you. Okay. The viola that you have for the lead, is that one you used your like voice to MIDI to like translate into the MIDI notes?
Yes, actually I did because I felt like I sung over the arpeggio arrangement and that's how I made the melody.
Gotcha. There's still some notes to clean up in there. Especially when the harp changes from what chord it's going on. It sounds like the viola isn't following the chord change like in time enough. So there's some sour notes that happen in the transitions. So I would definitely go back and clean those up. One thought that
I
I
can't tell
have,
what notes they are.
yeah. Let me. It's hard to like pick them out because it happens quite often. It's one.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens when the MIDI is trying to translate like some slides that are happening in between, and it just assigns the nearest note that it could possibly find. It
Funny
also,
thing is I spent a while cleaning it up, but I get what you're saying.
yeah, that might be the roughest thing, is that it will need even more cleaning than that. Um, Mo asked a good question. What DAW do you use? It's still Fruity Loops sometimes, and MuseScore when doing your orchestral instruments, right? Yeah.
Yeah, MuseScore was the samples I used for this one. Thing is, the original arpeggios kind of go off key anyway.
Yeah, it like, rather than having a home key, it changes key with the chord. So it like planes the chord up. And like the melody in it on the lead on the original is like three notes that just kind of bounce back and forth between the chords.
I didn't think that was interesting enough, so I kind of just wrote my own little melody over it.
No worries there. Like because there's only two instruments in the source, one of them being the arpeggio, as long as the arpeggio is doing like it's providing enough, I feel like you're capturing the essence of the arpeggio here in yours. But one thought that occurs to me is that like there in composing and like composing I would say an image, but in this case in the musical sense, um when introducing ideas, we get the harp and the viola together, especially when you have a piece that has like an arpeggio is the highlighted theme from the source. My recommendation is to take the harp and give us some time with the harp playing alone to establish the arpeggio that it has going on. So when the viola comes in, we have context for what the lead is doing. When they both happen together, it's like getting slammed in the face with all of the signal that we have no context for.
I get what you're saying. Do you think if you think the lead doesn't work, I can make a new one?
I think that you have inside of that lead, there are places that are working and there are places that are not working, and it's going to be up to you to slice out the ones that are working, make those apparent, and adjust the stuff that's not working. Um,
I
and
get what you're
what?
saying. Do you think I should give up on this piece yet, or what?
No,
Because Halloween's coming up soon, and I don't think I'll be able to finish it in time anyway.
if your goal is to have it ready for Halloween, it would be really difficult to have it ready in a week. Unless you were locking this to just having the two instruments and not worrying about a drum track.
No, I was gonna make a drum track and a few other things to it.
I would say based on the complexity of what that would require, I would say that a week would be a tough thing to do. I wouldn't.
Okay, I think I'll return to this idea later, I
Yeah.
guess. I have another idea that I have that was based on an ambient track I did.
I mean, it sounds like you got a lot cooking up.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about making it like making a straight remix of this one ambient track I did earlier this year.
Well, awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you pop that over here in the workshop when you're ready with it.
Okay, I'll probably put that in the workshop. Won't work on that one. Won't start till next week, probably due to reasons. My
Well,
mic being in another house.
got you. Well, no worries. I'm glad that you have found inspiration for stuff to work on, because I know you were saying these last couple weeks you were kind of down in the dumps without inspiration for working on tracks.
Oh, thanks. But yeah. Also, I was gonna tell Mo something. The problem with keeping is the source isn't really in key.
That is an interesting
Like the
idea.
arpeggios aren't really in one key necessarily. Kind of modulate when you feel like it. Also, the idea was that there's a monster in the save room.
Right, to be even extra spookier. Alex does bring up a good idea of when using your voice to MIDI translation, possibly recording at a slower BPM and then speed it up to match afterwards, so that it has a better chance to capture what you're articulating.
That's not a bad idea. I'll try that.
Trying to see if there are other notes going on here. I think that's about it. Is there anything else you're looking for from us, Ron?
Yeah, I'm wondering how if there's anything I should add to it.
Drums would be a
Like,
cool
how would I even
thing.
make a drum beat for that?
I would listen to the ARP and see what it's got going on. So I wish there was a spot where it was just the ARP playing. It would be easier to kind of
Honestly, the
grab.
ARP is mostly eighth notes.
Yeah. Thankfully, because it's mostly eighth notes, you probably could do. How would Josh suggest here? I would probably would say give some halftime groove, like on it when you're establishing what's going on, and then as you need the intensity to ramp up, go into like a standard time groove, and then back to halftime when you
Mm-hmm.
need to back it down. That way you have some contrasting elements happening in your percussion.
It's kind of what I did with my last remix. Oddly enough.
It's an old technique, but it's a good technique.
Like a lot of my last remix was mostly in halftime, but towards the end it gets of the loop it gets into double time. I mean, like normal time.
I don't want to give away my stylistic choices too much, but I very, very often go halftime for most of the piece and then add a little bit of at time when flavorful, because that's just how I naturally will feel things. And there's nothing wrong with continuing to do that same thing if that's a stylistic choice that you make because you like doing it.
Yeah, that was it worked with my last one, which I'm not gonna release, which is gonna be released next month probably.
Oh, where's it releasing?
You know, the Kingdom Hearts remix that's releasing on the 11th of next month,
Nice.
right in time for the anniversary.
Let's go. Hemo's right. Halftime is best time, and when you're trying to get work done, do it in halftime. and hopefully it doesn't take twice as long. Any other instruments I would think of if you aren't able to get this done by Halloween, but you continue working on it, something to cover up the low end wouldn't be a bad idea. But I would only suggest that if the harp isn't reaching down into the lower register quite often, so that there's room to add some like a low frequency instrument in there.
The harp is part of is playing a bass line to an extent.
Gotcha. If that's the case, I would find what the harp is doing and use something to reinforce what the harp is doing, or swap out those notes that the harp is hitting on the bass and give them to something else to manage the low end on that.
Okay. Be using the Dracula's Hill bass for it.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot.
Like
I'd
using a
say.
similar bass to that for the bass line after a little bit.
I think play around with it and see what happens.
Okay. Well, thanks for the tips, but I have a question. How do I tell if it's like the off-key notes aren't just because of the? How do I know they aren't just like sour notes, different sour notes, and just occasional accidentals?
There's nothing wrong with an occasional accidental. It mostly my understanding of when a note is sour, because sour notes are contextual, right? Like if most of your listening is with like Western scales, right? Like if you're not a microtonal listener, often when you hear something that slides out of key in a way that is not enhancing the mood that's being established in the piece, it will sound sour. So let me see if I can go in here and pick out a part. I want to say it happens around. I want to say it's somewhere in here after the 45-second mark. That there's a little accidental in here, and I landed right on top of it. That note is like, it's not adding to the mood that you're establishing, and I would say that note is sour.
Okay, thanks for trying to help me with that, because that gives me a bit of a problem. Like sometimes I don't know where the sour notes are and where it just, of course, had some accidentals in it.
Yeah. Honestly, like while you could use some tools to like in Fruity Loops, you could establish what two keys the two arpeggios are going between. What I would say is while listening, if like I would go kind of phrase by phrase. So if you got to go for like 4 bars or 8 bars at a time, when you're listening to the melody, if you hear something that is not, you hear a note that is not like, it's not giving the context or the feeling that you're evoking, like it sounds like it's not in place for that, I would look at that note and then move that particular note around until it better fits the idea of what you have in mind. It might be that the accidental that you're hearing is the thing that you have in mind and that establishes the feeling. And it also might be true that what you hear is, that note feels ambiguous. I don't know. And if it feels ambiguous, I would play around with that one and see if you can make it feel better.
Okay, that's a good tip. Because the other piece I'm trying to remix is, let's say, has as many off-key notes as on-key notes.
Yep. This one's tough, and it doesn't seem tough when you listen to it, right? It seems like it's literally 2 arpeggios and like 2 notes between the lead, like that it just kind of dips back and forth between. And that's kind of where the tricky bit comes in, right? That lead only has a couple of notes, because that might be the 2 notes that those 2 chords that are happening share, that like you can play these and they're safe, quote unquote.
Actually, I gotta admit, the arpeggios were. I kind of did a little thing with with MIDI I found online to get the arpeggios and then just use the quick arpeggiator on it on like the piano part. Sometimes I do that when I don't know what the chords are. You know what I mean,
Interesting.
right?
You grabbed
Nope.
like you took the whole chord and hit the arpeggiate, and so it like gave you a spread of notes from the chord in eighth notes.
Kinda.
It's not a bad way to develop the arpeggio. It's just it's one of those. This is one of those sources where the way the arpeggio is played is part of what is in the source because there's so few instruments, right? Uh,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
this one there are certain sections where I think that is appropriate for you to deviate from that. What would make your harp stronger is to incorporate some of that original's arpeggio in there and then deviate from it. Right? Like use a bit of both.
That's kind
That
of what I did actually.
I kind
I
of had
deviated from the arpeggio, just what felt natural, sung what felt natural to the accompaniment.
yeah, and I definitely feel that it's like rooted in there. I would bring the original source arpeggio note for note in the harp at least one place to establish like for sure like this is where it's coming from. That way it still has a tie to the source that doesn't feel ambiguous.
Have a rip of the piano part, like part of the piano part, and putting that on like a guitar synth, but
Not a bad
like I'm gonna
idea.
have that maybe in there somewhere.
That is not a bad idea. Mostly like guitar and harp do complement each other pretty well because of they share being stringed instruments. So I'm in favor of that.
Didn't sound like great when I do it in the MuseScore so far, but
MuseScore MuseScore will get you really good with sketching. I mean, it's not going to be the be all end all, especially with the guitar. It is not going to do the best job, but it will at least illustrate what you're looking for.
I get what you're saying. I don't really have a good guitar plugin or anything like that.
Unfortunately, there are not really good guitar plugins that I know of, and the ones that I am aware of are like $400 or $500 to have the really good samples under your fingers for acoustic guitar anyway. Like uh all of Impact Soundworks, like all of the shreddage line is fantastic. The paid versions especially because there's just more knobs and stuff to play with. FL Studio Flex. Is that I'm not aware of Flex.
Oh, I know what that is. I don't really use that one that often, but I can try it.
Interesting.
I'm not really going for realism anyway.
Welcome back, Wool Steve. The only this is how far out of is free 50. The only guitar plugin from FL Studio I'm aware of is Slayer, and we don't talk about Slayer.
Slayer's freaking annoying.
Other than I think it's
FL Slayer, not the band.
I think
Though I'm
it's
not too fond of them either.
is it the Turd
Simply,
Surfers? The Turd Surfers OC remix uses FL Slayer for the guitars, and it might be the only FL Slayer piece I've ever heard that I thought actually that sounds pretty good.
that's fine, Trey. I use the free version anyway.
Ableton Live. Speaking of live, Ron, thanks for submitting something to the workshop. I'm happy to go further if you need any more. If you need another pair of ears on this later, I'm happy to give it a listen. I'm going to move on to Mel's mix next.
Fair enough. What's Mel's mix anyway?
Mel is doing, I don't know if it's a redo or if it's a continuation of Scala's theme and Terra's theme. So we get a wonderful smash up.
No one's mixed those two together.
The only person I know for sure that has done these two, and only because I've heard several versions of this previously, is Mel. And it's like, we should definitely, like, I'm glad someone has taken
It'd
like-
be even better if they mix the two square Terras together, themes together.
right.
Like Rage Awaken mixed with Terra's theme. I wonder why no one's done that yet.
It's a good question.
Final Fantasy Terra, for the record.
I'm not sure, and I hope someone does it soon. So we're
Me
gonna.
too. It's not gonna be me though.
My backlog is so big, it won't be me either. I think we're gonna give Terra's theme a spin first. So Terra's theme for Final Fantasy VI, and then we're gonna give Scala's theme from Chrono Trigger a spin. If you aren't familiar with these Super Nintendo themes, you are in for a treat, because they're also like two of the most remixed tracks on not just OC Remix, but like in the world. I can't imagine. There are definitely people who haven't heard these two themes, but if you haven't, you're in for a treat. Anyway, Terra's theme, Final Fantasy VI.
One more thing before we get into that. I have this really weird Santa plugin. I'm wondering, that looks kind of reminds me of Safer Sephiroth, the Santa ornament,
Give it a big katana.
or Squid.
And it's definitely Santa Roth.
Yeah, there's like this. I have this like Safer Santa Claus ornament that's either that or he's part Squid. I'm not sure. I could show you a picture of it.
Please do, because that is the Santa Claus of nightmares.
Yeah, he's pink too, by the way.
This just gets scarier and scarier. Terra's theme, Final Fantasy VI.
Sorry, I'm gonna check out at this point. My pot pie is almost ready.
think we hit the loop point, but my camera is an iPhone, and it decided that it wasn't going to charge on the USB for like the last 20 minutes, and then it died. So I'll solve that later. You definitely heard it disconnecting and reconnecting and disconnecting several times, and for that, I apologize. It wasn't part of the original. I'm sure it ruined most of your people's day. I will make it up to you by moving immediately into Scala's theme from Chrono Trigger. And there's the loop point. I also love the panning. Especially on the tabla and the ARP, the panning is just magic. Okay. I remember I vaguely remember some of what was happening in this mix, but not everything, and I'm kind of excited to get reacquainted with Scala Xterra version 3 from Mel Decision. Some people debate whether it is Shala or Scala. Everyone is wrong. Just pronounce it the way that you want to. Anyway, this is Scala Xterra version 3. Here we go.
black wind howls. Please tell me, who am I? Who?
Oh yeah, mixing quiet is not a bad idea. Yeah, mixing and then remastering. It's good, especially when you have vocal content to bring the whole to bring your listening level down while you're mixing. That way, you can check if the level of your vocal is sitting uh, at an appropriate spot compared to the mix and understandable. Like if you can bring the volume down to almost negative where you just barely hear the other instruments and you could still understand the vocal, you're in a great spot regardless of where you're at volume wise. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
like
it really is a thing. But like normally you do that with like your knob or something. You like do the physical. You turn it down. You're not doing it using the mix. The reason you do it in the mix though, like, and the reason I mentioned it there is because a lot of times people will forget to re-level a certain channel. They'll just import in like an instrument and they'll just forget that they need to do that. So by starting it low, it forces you to make sure that as you're adding things to the mix, you're actually adjusting it because then it's way too loud. And then what you do is you kind of bring everything up at the end when you're done, or if you use some kind of like mastering tool. So I mean, I've seen it work. It's just a workflow that works. I don't particularly do it. Actually, I did it once just to try it out, and it's not bad.
I am a believer in mix as loud as you can deal with without killing your ears, which does lead to ear fatigue. But I like knowing what's happening when stuff's loud. There's nothing wrong, I think, with going quiet, but it's not my process.
For EDM, like a lot of psytrance artists do mix soft, like that. That is a real thing. So that's I mean for the people that I watch and follow like that is a lot of what they do. And mainly it's because of like you said ear fatigue. Like if you're mixing in like an hour and a half mix and you can only last for like 30 minutes every day because you're blasting it like that's not going to be useful.
Right. You want to be able to last like at least a couple hours.
Right.
Better to pan verb or center verb and use ping pong delay. I think that is a matter of taste. Because you've got two characters essentially talking. And you're trying to establish that they're two different people using the pan spectrum. I think that this is an area where you want a pan verb. You can add some ping pong delay in there, but I think that you'd be better off like if you have delay in there, I would center the delay and pan the reverb, or counter pan your delay and center the reverb. It depends. I would go by feel on this one. Like try them both and see what feels better in the mix because it's going to be a taste thing. Like,
I mean, like the main concept is you want them to feel like they're in the same room. Like you don't want to make it sound like it's actually a clip on the left and a clip on the right. You want to make it sound like they're actually there,
hmm
right? So like you're gonna want to play with the reverb level, so you're not hearing the reverb per se, but like it feels like they're actually there with you in the room when you mix it right.
yes, 100%. Like arrangement wise, this still is good. I'm now recalling where it was at the last time. Where the vocals come in is a perfect change up from the last place in which we heard this mix, and I think we dial that in, bring this up to like a better mastered volume to be louder, and you got a great mix on your hands. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to hit, but I don't really got anything. We got about 15 left before our out. So I think in the interest of time, we should pivot here. I'm happy to do more listening throughout the week if you need another set of ears while you're mixing on this. I may not be the most responsive, but I'll do the best I can. Next, we're going to move into Mo. Mo's got a mix. Psy Country would be very interesting. I would love to hear a Psy bass made out of a wash tub.
Bet.
Yeah, I know that it can be done. Yes, yeet ha, let's go. So, Mo has a remix from Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, that second gen era of Azalea Town or Blackthorn City, depending on, I think it's depending on localization, but they might just use the same track in both spots. So let's give that a roll, and then we'll check out the remix. God, so good. So tasty. Okay, now that I am done being in the hell that is nostalgia, let's hit Azalea Ruins Gloomy Key Shift Remix 7 from Morgan. Yeah, this is one of those trumpets where I'm like, where's Tisori? Like, yes, he's the one guy that everybody calls for a trumpet, but there's a very good reason we all called Tisori for a trumpet. Yeah, this mix has it is there's so much that is right that's going on with this mix. It's got the vibe. Like I love the intro. I love where it dips into where we start getting trying to think like genre wise. Okay, so we got like the pounding piano, we got upright bass, we got a drum kit, we've got the guitar. There's there's xylo and stuff that's happening. I can't quite nail down what genre, but it's hitting it right. I'm trying to read through your notes from what you put in the request for Sages. 226 when it drops in, it is doing exactly the thing that you want it to do, right? The influence is literally Ben Folds. See, that makes sense. It transitions and gives us a difference in kind, which is exactly what you want from the bridge section. It just overstays its welcome. Like by the third round through the phrasing of what it's saying, where it's like trying to build itself back into like where it's going to transition, it builds another like round through it. What is happening in the section is not being utilized to its fullest, to the point where I'm like, you may want to cut down on the amount of repetition happening just so that you can focus in on what that section is supposed to be doing as the bridge, right? You're giving us a nice break between the previous section and going back to the recapitulation, like as the climax of the piece. And so breaking it down is great. Doing build up is great. How long it's taking to do that is you're losing all of the energy that you're trying to maintain here in the management. So I would massage that section more, not the start of it. I'd look at the end and seeing like either cutting down what's not working or refocusing it. I think Hemo brings up a great point about the trumpet. Kind of feels like the trumpet doesn't know what it's doing, and it's just like a balloon letting out all the air, and it's just kind of like all over the place. There are phrases that it's doing where I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, keep doing that. And there are phrases that I'm like, quiet down the trumpet. Like there's the piano's talking right now. Like I could see in this mix using the trumpet like tactically and surgically as a way of either being the lead instrument or as like doing a call response thing where it comes in with the responses is probably more what you're looking for. I'm trying to think that if there's anything else I heard in it that was like really what you need. Sad to see Matt drop, but it's also like 3 minutes to 10. So it's no wonder. The brass in the second half of the track not feeling at all grounded. I mean, that's part of the trumpet. Piano feels unnatural to me at multiple points. My thoughts on the piano, like I don't mind it giving us some of the where it's like playing eighths, and it's like I can hear that it sounds like there's velocity switches. It might be just volume automation that's making it happen. I feel like the piano is more comfortable when it's not slamming the eighths and it's actually like coming in and doing some like halftime. It feels like velocity and note length like going in. It just is. It feels more comfortable when it is like nice and when it's coming in and playing like the halftime sort of stuff. Who did we lose? Did we lose some people? I think we lost Steve. It's hard for me to like follow chat and like finish this thought. It's very difficult. Where was I going with this? I don't think that your velocities are wrong. Because I'm not a piano player, I don't know exactly my approach with playing it. I mean, it feels like it is in the realm of the Ben Folds, like to come in and hit it. I wouldn't be surprised if they slam a compressor on theirs to like really get it pounding and like in your face. May not be the right move for this track, but I don't think that inside a mix like that it would be untoward. Like compositionally, I think it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, but I wonder if like it can just go to consistently being like kind of the halftime thing at the end, so that you have room for a call response thing between your other instruments, like the trumpet and the Glock, or your whatever your mallet percussion is happening. Hemo's saying he doesn't think it's a problem. Oh, got you. Okay. I also wish you could run your DoD track bias. I wish we could always run DoD tracks. The fact that I know that you guys are in there makes me it makes my Kokoro go doki doki. And now that I've lost all the rest of the audience by being a total weeb, I look forward to hearing all of your DoD tracks in, God, is it already in a week? Yeah, it's going to be in like a week. Well, that's fine. Even if I don't hear them, I'll try and hear them before they hit the panel. Because I loves me some Spooky Month and some Spooky Alien Month. I think acoustic feels a bit quiet when it gets into the higher notes. That might be an issue with the samples. If you are really feeling like they're not working, I do have a nylon acoustic if you need it tracked. I'm not sure what your due date on this is. If I got space in my schedule, I could fit you in there. And chat is doing the chat thing.
Hello.
Welcome in.
Hello and welcome.
We love the hello and welcome. How are you this evening, Hemo?
Trying not to die.
Yep. I wish I didn't
am-
feel that in my bones, but I do.
I was literally just choking to death, so.
No.
Hi, Humo.
I'm glad you're alive.
Hi.
Welcome, Trait.
And now I'm just hanging out, you know.
It's all good. He said hi and left. God damn it.
I mean, you know, that's cool too.
Classic. Yes, we don't want you to die. I'm glad you didn't die choking.
Yeah, it was. I was laughing at something somebody said earlier, and I literally just started coughing and choking so bad. I could not believe it.
Hate to see
I
it.
was like, "What are you guys doing to me? You guys are actually trying to kill me."
With laughter.
Oh, hey, look, Matt's back.
He is.
Yeah, I finished the stuff real quick. I thought she wanted me to do something much more complicated. I was like, oh, that took me like 2 minutes.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, she's still on her way back though, so I'll have to drop soon.
It's all good. I also will need to drop soon. Because
You gonna drop the beat?
I wish I was dropping the beat. No, I got to drop my ass in bed asleep so that I can be at work on time. I didn't really mean for that to rhyme. It just kind of did. So we unfortunately didn't get to Blixers tonight. It's a thing we're going to have to pick up on next week. There are some stuff that are on the forums as well that we weren't able to get to, that like I don't know what your schedule is looking like, Hemo. It sounds like you're just here to vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, next week we'll probably hit it again. I may not be. It's probably very likely I won't be on for next week because Thursday I'm getting married, and I need Wednesday to set up my backyard for it. So I'm gonna be busy as hell.
Congrats. Just make sure you play plenty of Psytrance at the wedding. It'll be a banger.
Well, given that it's a very small ceremony, I probably will be playing Psytrance in the car on the way over to like wherever we're eating afterwards.
You're gonna play Rockwell, right?
I probably
Considering the day.
should. Yeah. Probably should.
It's like their only song.
Yep. Well, thank you all. Yeah. Been looking forward to this for the better part of a year. And yeah, I'm gonna knock that out. So I won't be in the most likelihood is that I will not be on, but I will be there most likely for the next week, as long as work
Yeah,
doesn't murder me.
I'm so happy for you, dude. Like, marriage is awesome. Like, I'm so excited for you, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Everyone should do it.
When they find the right person, yes, everyone should do it.
No, even when you don't find the right person.
No,
I'm
I do
kidding.
not
I'm
support
kidding.
arranged marriage. We are going on record as not standing.
I was thinking more along the lines that line would be interpreted as like just marry the first person you see on the street.
I mean, okay. So, to support some arranged marriage ideas, dating sucks. Like, that part,
Yes.
honestly, I could deal without. Like, the marriage part is actually really nice once you find the right person, but it's the finding that is terrible. So I'm happy you found someone.
Right? I have it. It's a wonderful story that I can tell later. The short version is you do actually meet some wonderful people on online dating websites, and not all of them are the worst in the world. I might have found my favorite person in the whole world ever using online dating, and so not everyone's got a horror story. I don't have one. Lots of people do. I'm in the like. There's a whole like tale that I could tell. I just do not have the time nor the space or inclination to do it here at the moment.
Yep. I mean, you can meet a good person anywhere. So, and honestly, the dating websites aren't bad. The only thing I don't like about them is sometimes they'll find you someone who's more like you, and that's not honestly the best person for you, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So it's good to have variety.
It depends. Like having a really good self-assessment of what your needs are and if those are compatible with the needs of the other person, and then like does your baggage all fit in the same space easily and manageably? Because if you can answer yes to both of those, well, you don't really answer yes to your needs. If you can figure out what your needs are and answer yes to that second question, it's like a 99% like XCOM chance right there.
Yeah, I actually found my wife. So my wife I found because I was we're at college together, and like I'd met her, but I didn't think like she was a great person or not. I just didn't know her that well, right? And it wasn't until like so I was actually playing at a venue, and I actually got really sick, and she was worried, so she actually went back and found me. I was like just on the toilet, just throwing up. Like it was nasty, dude. And she brought me all this water and took care of me. And then after that, I was like, wow, she's a great person now. I would like talk to her more. And then eventually, I fell in love with her, and now we're married. So
Yay.
yeah, it's not exactly the way that I'd want to meet my wife, but that was the way that it happened. So
Happy ending.
Yes, we stand a happy ending. Will office hours next week be a Halloween special? That is a great question.
I like the question.
Yeah, imagine we don't review anything next week and instead we just do Halloween bangers.
we could do like the random like game, and then just do like Halloween bangers. That might be fun. Just
Ye-
like do like 3 hours of just kind of goofing off.
Right. But can we do an hour? Well, office hour.
Oh, yeah. Like instead of 15 minutes, yeah. I think we would want to do something longer than, because we were just trying it out to see if it was something we liked. Like I just didn't want to do like 3 hours of something that was terrible.
Yeah. I do hope it's really fun.
What's the lyrics to the song? I'm just an average man. I have an average life. Hey, now I pay the price or something. Rockwell. Sounds like the lyrics were fitting to the conversation.
I'm gonna have to look them up because I don't actually know.
Oh, like I love it because like it makes you really good because like you're gonna throw out the song pretty quickly. Like you know what I mean? Like if you don't like it, you only spend an hour on it. You feel like you're not really invested. Where like if you spend like weeks in it and then it ends up sucking, you're like, "Ugh, like I really want to push this past the finish line, but you know.
Commitments.
Well, like the 1 hour is great because you can try things you normally wouldn't, and if it works, then you might put it into an actual mix.
There you go. We are all advocates of compos and 1 hour compos and etc. Get involved.
Yeah, like I think we're talking about Chris is like doing like the remix roulette, like the thing that I built,
Yeah.
and because like we tried it and it worked
Oh.
out really well. The idea is you take a screenshot of it to say that you're locked into that combination, and then you have to do it. But in this case, you'd have to do it as like a Halloween theme, so it'd have to be like a spooky bluegrass song. I don't know.
Spookgrass. Ooh, spooky
I mean, you
bluegrass.
could just write a song about a possessed truck or something.
Spooky bluegrass. There's
All right, I'm being summoned. I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys later.
Go get summoned. There's a Tennessee band by the name of Blood on the Vine that basically is just spooky bluegrass. Yeah, it's better on the vine than on the dance floor, 100%. Oh, 10:10. It just gets later and later. Speedrun part 2 for Halloween. Yeah. We'll speedrun composition for Halloween next week. It sounds like is what we're gonna do. This is the part where I sign off for the VOD. Y'all, it's been real. Thank you for speedrunning the workshop review this week. I promise they won't all be speedruns. We can dive much further and longer at another point. We right now we're world record for finishing before midnight Eastern time.
And don't worry, everybody. I know we haven't been posting many mixes lately, but we got some Halloween stuff coming soon.
Spooky. We love it.
I mean, they might not be Halloween remixes, but they might be from games that are spooky. I think that's fitting, yeah.
Yes. I'm hype.
Trevor wants to speak.
Yes, get in here.
Bye, Hemo.
Okay.
Classic.
You guys are great.
Oh, Moose.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is Moose coming through? Yeah.
He did. It was great. It was well timed.
Yeah, the poor thing, he got some teeth pulled. He's finally able to eat solid food again.
Oh.
As of today.
Well, I'm glad he can have delicious food again.
Yeah, he lost weight, which is good. He wasn't a chonker. He was just ever so slightly overweight.
He'll be all right. He's a good boy.
That's what happen. That's what happens when you change your dog's food to non-fat food.
Yes, indeed. Oh, you know what we didn't say was hi YouTube at the beginning, so I guess we get to say bye YouTube before I close it out.
Pet Moose. He's a corgi.